Thank you, Katrin, for that talk. I'd say we've talked about a lot of beautiful and nuanced topics tonight. But let's be self-centered for a second. Well, not exactly, but both I and our next speaker believe self-care is crucial. But in a world of infinite self-care practices, it's important to navigate self-care with care. And with that, please welcome our next speaker, Kalai Prakash.
Picture me coming home from a long day that felt like it was designed by someone who hates me. Tests I forgot to study for, my social battery wearing out, and all I craved was a moment to let my mental health recharge. Naturally, I went to the digital world for relatable wellness tips. But I was met with influencers who wake up before the sun, eat smoothie bowls for every meal, and maintain a very rigorous pace of life. That got me thinking, would my life be more fulfilled if I followed this level of wellness? Or would I be one avocado toast away from losing my sanity? I wanted to answer this question. So my friends and I followed this routine to the T. Waking up at the ungodly hour of 5, limiting ourselves to the last Oreo in the box, expecting a medal for our self-restraint. Although I felt accomplished some days, most of the time it was exhausting. I realized the techniques I followed felt more like self-punishment than self-care. So in the pursuit of finding something different, I flipped the script. I started learning guitar. I still remember the first time I learned a chord. With each drum, the melodies whispered their own unique language, filling the room with an atmosphere of inspiration and learning. I started to feel a genuine fondness for creating music through trial and error. Much like my musical connection, I was able to connect with my family during a daily evening stroll. These evening strolls were sometimes the only thing I looked forward to some days, even more than my solo guitar concerts in my room. The laughter, occasional debates, and even comfortable silent moments is what enriched our relationship as a family. I realized I didn't need to follow how self-care was portrayed through social media. My personal wellness tips improved my well-being since they resonated with me. Eager for authenticity in social media, I dug deeper and discovered there are, in fact, valuable self-care methods. One of my favorite content creators, Amanda Rachel Lee, got me interested in bullet journaling. She showcased various features, for example, water trackers to monitor hydration levels, as well as more creative components like a daily doodle page. My experience of self-care through the digital world revealed the dual aspects of it, the detrimental and beneficial. I then realized, as users, we have an initial attraction to the commercialized portrayals of wellness. When my friends and I tried our extensive self-nurturing boot camp, it took a toll on my mental health. It added stress and filled my schedule with activities that I didn't even enjoy. Reflecting this perspective, a study from the University of North Florida showed many posts on Instagram under the tag #selfcare emphasizes impractical body standards while barely any discussed mental health mechanisms. These posts primarily focused on concepts like diet culture, beauty retreats, detox teas, just to name a few. Much like physical wellness practices can fall prey to excessive consumerism, mental practices can as well. a meditation app called Headspace provides accessible tools for mindfulness and guided meditations. Even so, they have subscription plans instead in order to access different ranges of their app. It's almost as if they're saying, want to reduce your stress? There's an app for that. Just don't forget your credit card, people. I think it's safe to say that the many aspects of the self-care industry depict itself as products or lifestyles that are perfect. In my judgment, it's best we criticize what we consume on a daily basis. Our mind and body require harmony in times we crave a break. But how do we find these treasures among a vast digital space? You can start off by following creators who share similar insights, experiences, and goals, and document their failures as much as their successes. Being wary of what you consume on social media is important to find authentic tips. Yet it's equally vital to take a step beyond the screen and experiment with ideas offline. Thus, asking family and friends what they do to cope with stress can be effective too. One evening, as I was sprawled on my bed, mastering the art of doom scrolling, and while being a professional procrastinator of my academic duties, my focus shifted. For a moment, I thought there was an earthquake, only to realize it was just my loud older brother barging into my room, ready to tell me his tales of his last weekend. My attention to his stories was how one reads the terms and conditions. Non-existent. In the blink of an eye, he launched a surprise attack and grabbed my phone. I audibly gasped. He inquired, "How long have you been on your phone today?" We both knew the answer to that question. He then offered me a simple yet intriguing invitation. Why don't we just sit for a moment? No screens. Let's just breathe. Without the ever-changing chaotic atmosphere of scrolling, the stark contrast of just silence was uncomfortable at first. I wanted a distraction from my thoughts. Reluctantly, I joined him. I sat cross-legged on the floor, eyes closed, taking deep breaths. My thoughts slowly appeared every now and then, positive and negative. But as if I was a warrior in battle, I had to fight them off and continue to just breathe. As minutes passed, the weight of the neglected responsibilities felt less crushing, and I unusually felt more motivated to face them than to avoid them. With every inhale, I was allowing myself to act like a balloon, inflating with not just air, but with a calming energy where my mind and body had one goal: just breathe. With every exhale, I imagined this balloon gracefully letting go the weight of my thoughts. Each cycle of inhales and exhales became a process of being in the moment. And maybe that's all I needed to do. This lesson wasn't just about breathing. I was an expert at that right out of the womb. It embarked me to teach me about living with intention. This also wasn't merely older sibling advice. The practice of meditation has been used in many therapeutic practices to ease anxiety and panic attacks. So, I encourage you to give meditation a try. It will force your mind to be in the present moment. And you can make it as simple as possible. 5 minutes a day. From then on, I tried to stop being distracted with heaps of information at a time, but took baby steps instead. Something I did was go on my phone with a purpose. I know I often open a social media platform and I didn't even know why. Maybe you opened your phone to search something up, or watch a silly video, Simply knowing the why can make something less of a domino effect. Thus, even being mindful in a fast-paced digital world. While social media can highlight the extremes of self-care, it's up to us to not be afraid to criticize what it has to offer. So, explore the good and the bad with an objective. Because at the core of it all, self-care should deeply be what you want it to be, fostering change and growth as an individual. Thank you.